see a lot of familiar faces again, so thanks for coming. So either there's two reasons you could have shown up again, because I did such a crap job last time that you're going to give me another chance, or you're really impressed that you want to come back. So like last time, we're just going to get stuck back into this. And what's one of the first things we do or get told to do to lose weight? We exercise to burn fat. That's what we're told, right? Well, let's take a closer look at that. Let me tell you about this VO2 max test that I had done in late 2013 in Florida. Now you see the mask here that I have on, that can measure exactly what I'm burning. Whether I'm burning sugar, I'm burning fat. As you go from low effort, you start with high fat burning and low sugar burning. As your effort goes up, you go more and more towards high sugar burning and low fat burning. This VO2 max test is like the golden standard of measuring human performance. And see, the more effort equals more sugar burning and less fat burning. Now they've never seen that before. Somebody standing still and burning 100% fat. Would you call standing still pretty low effort? Would you call it no effort? It doesn't get much less effort than not moving, does it? And I was burning 100% fat. That's what the machine said. I challenge anybody to find me a VO2 max test with any athlete or normal person that doesn't go from high fat burning to low. From high fat burning to high sugar burning. So why in the hell do we exercise to lose weight? Is my question. I think we do it because we're told that we eat too much and move too little, and that's why we get fat. But the science says otherwise. The best test in the world. There is no way you can measure it more accurately than put this mask on, like I did in that test. Can you see how it's one of the most counterproductive things you can do? The more you increase the effort, the more sugar you're going to burn. And no fat. So we're left with this one. We eat too much. Okay. Let's look at that one. But I want to propose to you that it's not so much energy in that's the problem, it's energy out. But the human is a lot more complex than just this simple math equation. See, your fat cells are meant for temporary energy storage. Just like your wallet is that temporary storage of your money until you spend it, that's how your fat cells are supposed to be. But when the outdoor is jammed or closed or bolted shut, it becomes a bolt. But there's a big daddy of fat making, and that's insulin. The insulin is released into your bloodstream, and it takes some of that blood sugar and it goes into all your cells to be used as energy straight away. And it stores it a little bit in the muscles and then mainly the rest in your liver. And when your muscles and liver are full, the rest goes into your fat cells. What foods make insulin go up? What foods stimulate your blood sugar? Carbohydrate, sugar? That's what makes insulin go up. So where do we find carbohydrates in this little cup? So vegetables in the ground, they have a higher sugar content. And obviously, sugar right at the top. But if you overeat on protein, it can get broken down and converted into sugar, and that could stimulate your insulin. The fat you eat, it has no effect on your insulin, on your blood sugar. Yeah, you find high fat in coconut oil as well. Mainly in coconut, it's mainly in the milk when the meat is squeezed, and also in the oil, which is another extract from the milk. But as you can see, we're getting towards where we need to eat some fat. When you keep your insulin low, that's when your fat can escape from your fat cells. Yeah? How we get fat is determined by insulin sensitivity. If you are very sensitive to insulin, then you're likely to be slim. Your muscles, especially, are very, very sensitive. They respond to the insulin, and they can take in this sugar in huge amounts and burn it up as energy. See, at the other end of the scale, we have very resistant. It means that exactly the opposite. Sugar hits the bloodstream, insulin is released, but your muscles especially don't respond very well. They can only take in so much. So most of that will then go to fat storage. And normally we look at somebody like this and say, well, of course they're skinny. They're skinny because they run so much. That's what we normally say, isn't it? But now that we know that fat is actually regulated and your energy is regulated by your hormones, especially insulin, would it be possible they run because they're skinny? You know what, even if they didn't run, they'd probably be skinny anyway. It's just the way their body is designed. So on the other end of the scale, somebody might look like this. We've all seen them morbidly obese. Yeah? And what do we say? We say, of course they're fat. Like they're getting fat because they're so lazy. But maybe they're lazy because they're getting fat. See the difference? It's a world of difference, isn't it? So, these people, we look at them, we wouldn't actually think they're starving, would we? But they are. See how the body's malfunctioning? But especially with obese people, what do we say? It becomes a moral issue and a character issue. You're just not strong enough to eat less. You have a very low moral. You just eat too much and you move too little. That's what they're told. Over again and again and again. But we know neither of those are true. This is actually basic anatomy. Okay? And I'm going to also share with you where I've learned all this. This is freely available. You can look up the insulin response, for example, in any anatomy book. This is how fat is accumulated in the human body. But what determines that I landed on that scale right there? Okay, the number one thing is your genes. You know, if you're not happy with it, you're going to have to take it up with your parents, you know, but it's not going to change much. But to illustrate a point, this is two different cattle breeds. They have exactly the same diet, so why are they turning out different? They're genes. You can feed him and feed him and feed him and feed him, and he'll just put on more muscle, 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 and hardly any fat. And that particular breed is known for that. Right? They just make meat. But you can feed the top bull exactly the same diet, and he'll still look like that. Because one's a milk producer and one's a meat producer. And if you're a dairy farmer, you're producing milk, and you're putting energy into your cattle, you don't want it to go into meat. You want it to go to milk, because that's what you're producing. So two farmers take two different breeds because they want two different results. And yet, in animals, we don't doubt that genes is the most important thing. But it seems that when it comes to humans, oh no, it's all just moral and character issues. Our body shapes. Well, would you say this guy just ate too much and the other guys ate too little? Or would you say that genes would have quite an impact on that, how they turned out? But I want you to think about that as your starting point on the scale. We can't change that, but it is just where you start. Understanding is the most powerful weapon we have for making change in our lives. And that's what I'm trying to give you here tonight. And I think understanding what we can't change is just as important as understanding what we can change. Number one, your genes, we can't control that. What's number two?
Diet.
The food you eat. Okay? And that, my friends, we can control. So now I've presented you with a problem. We're going to take a little break. I'm going to give you the solution.